Finally, Anang has come back to YouTube. I literally thought about starting my video off that way, like literally a few seconds before I hit the record button. Which is, it's kind of an ironic start because this particular movie topic, or the topic of this whole video in general, is not related to Dwayne The Rock Johnson, despite the fact that he was also in another giant monster movie called Rampage, which was released in 2018, which also has a giant gorilla or monkey, primate, however you want to call your gorillas or chimpanzees or monkeys or orangutans. But yeah, here it is. The review that nobody has been waiting for because people could care less about my channel, with the exception of like the 30 subscribers that are there. I haven't checked. I don't even have the tab open. Yeah, I probably should have had more time to prepare for this, despite the fact that this particular movie that we are going to be talking about has been released in the United States of America since March 31. And my time, it is currently May 9th, 2021. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. Oops. Yeah, 9:44 p.m. Oh, yes. As you can tell by the title, I am here to review Godzilla versus Kong. 2021, not 2020, because so much happened in 2020. And this movie being pushed back a year later from its original release date, which was March 13, 2020, I believe. But yeah, I'm not complaining because as of this recording, Godzilla vs. Kong has made a worldwide total in the box office of $422.6 million. Yeah. No, forgot. I actually got vaccinated too. Yeah, I got vaccinated yesterday at like around 3 p.m. Well, technically 2:57 p.m. So I got there a little bit earlier. I got the Pfizer vaccine, so that means I'll be going back to the place where I got it in 3 weeks to get my second dose, and then I'll be fully vaccinated. So what you will about what you think of the vaccines and all that, but you know, if they're really the source for normalcy to return, like how it was pre-pandemic, then, and if I get to have more freedom to do the things I want, like go to a concert or any event with like a large number of people, excuse me, then I'm gonna have to do it. But yeah, I got vaccinated on the on my left arm. Still pretty sore. It was more sore last night, I think. Last night I was barely even able to like move my arm like right here, but now I'm kind of able to have a bit more flexibility around it. So yeah, there's that. And I have work tomorrow, and I do like a lot of physical activity at work. So hopefully I'll be able to go tomorrow. I've never actually called in to work before, so I don't want tomorrow to be my first time. But anyway, yeah, I got vaccinated. Well, halfway through vaccination. But yeah, there's that. Anyway, now to the main topic of the video. Godzilla vs. Kong. Gonna start off with a non-spoiler review first. And I'll probably, in the description, give a timestamp of when the actual spoiler review starts. So, non-spoiler reviews. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that I've actually seen this film 3 times so far. Here are my tickets for the second time that I went. It's the first time I actually saw it. Well, I actually purchased the ticket online. An online ticket. I could probably show you on my LG G-Pad that I have over here, but I didn't think to pull it up. But yeah, here it is. Godzilla Kong. Yeah. I don't know if it's gonna be a spoiler if I say that Godzilla Kong. Actually, no, I'll save that for the spoiler review. So, anyway, yeah. Saw it 3 times in full. First time was with my 2 friends. Second time was with my father and another friend. Third time was with my mother. And it was actually for Mother's Day. That was my little gift to her. So, I just wanted to say right off the bat that I enjoyed it all 3 times. Especially the first time. I mean, nothing really beats the first experience, right? Well, most of the times, I guess. Unless if you saw your first time drunk or not sober or something. If you experienced something your second time completely sober, maybe would have been better. Who knows? But yeah, I heavily enjoyed it first time. I even went straight back into work an hour later after getting out. No, not an hour later, a few hours later. It was immediately after I got out of the theater, I actually went to Buffalo Wild Wings with a couple of my friends. So yeah, but you know what I mean. Went back to work later that day. And my gosh, I don't know if it's because of the recliner Dream Loungers seats, because I saw the movie at the movie tavern, Marcus Cinemas, and I don't think I've ever seen a movie in those kind of seats before. So I got really comfortable, and I think I was pretty tired too. Not tired like I was sleepy or anything, but tired because I just experienced literally one of the most anticipated movies of my life. I'm 22 years old. Gonna be 23 later in October 11. And just seeing these 2 monsters duke it out in the rematch of the century. I remember when I found out about King Kong versus Godzilla in 1962. I think I was at a family friend's house, and they had a computer, and at the time I didn't have me and my parents, we didn't have our own computer or internet at all, so we would always just go to other people's places, or I would always go to other people's places and just use their computers, either look up stuff about professional wrestling or Godzilla. And I remember when I found out about King Kong versus Godzilla in 1962, how awesome the fight was, or how I thought it was at the time. It's still pretty fun to watch now, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely more of a campier, more fun movie. And Godzilla vs. Kong 2021 is too, but with modern effects, and you're able to take it more seriously now, I guess. A little more seriously. Yeah, shoot, where do I even start? We're 10 minutes, 54 seconds into this video, and I'm like, this is already like the worst Godzilla vs. Kong review that you've probably seen already. But yeah, hey, let's start off with the music. So music, and I know I haven't reviewed Godzilla King of the Monsters or Kong Skull Island yet. I might in the future, because it seems kind of unfair that I've only reviewed 2014 and Godzilla vs. Kong on this channel. But anyway, I mentioned the previous MonsterVerse films because this movie is obviously a sequel to them, a follow-up. And I just mentioned the music. And the music, compared to King of the Monsters soundtrack, even though it was like mostly like Ifukube soundtracks or renditions of the like original Japanese soundtracks, it was still in my opinion, a more memorable soundtrack than this movie. But I do prefer the soundtrack over Kong Skull Island's soundtrack, because that soundtrack I can only remember some of the music used in the trailers for Kong Skull Island, and the Ozzy Osbourne song. What was that song? I don't remember. I'm gonna look it up right now because it's bothering me. Okay, so yeah, that's all I can really remember. But I did like the tribal stuff, I think. Not Crazy Train. Looking at my Firefox history, I don't remember. But if you've seen the movie, and if you're still watching this review, then you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's all I remember. For now, at least. I'm probably missing something that I actually really like, but yeah. I do like the Godzilla 2014 soundtrack, especially how original it sounds. Or, yeah, it kind of sounds. Yeah, Alexander Desplat's soundtrack. I don't remember who composed the soundtrack for Kong Skull Island. I remember Bear McCreary composed the amazing soundtrack for Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019. And Tom Hokenberg, also known as Junkie XL, composed the soundtrack. But Godzilla vs. Kong has like more memorable pieces of music in it, in my opinion. Maybe I'm saying that because I literally just finished watching the movie earlier today with my mother. And I haven't seen Kong Skull Island or King of the Monsters since week or two ago. Yeah, like a couple weeks ago. so my memory for them isn't really as good. But yeah, there's a. That's pretty much what I have to say for the music. Now for the cinematography. I think that's how you do it. But yeah, it's, you can tell by the trailer alone. And, usually trailers don't really do the CGI or the cinematography justice. It's usually, like when they come out, it's usually like not finished yet, I guess. But now you can argue in this case that the trailer came out like 2 months before the actual movie came out. So they probably finished the CGI already. Who knows? But just from the trailer alone, this movie looked amazing. Like, where you see the scene with Godzilla literally crawling on the aircraft carrier, and just all his details, especially in his neck, like the scales and like how they're colored, the little, I don't know how, skin texture, I guess, just how it looks. It's amazing. The sound too. The sound. That's another thing about this movie I want to say. I don't usually notice the sound quality in movies, but all the times that I've seen it, it's, especially my second time, it was loud, but still, it was actually pretty, like, well detailed. Especially when, again, I'd like to point out the aircraft battle scene, aircraft carrier battle scene. Just the little pieces of detail that you notice in the roars and the sound going on in general. And there are, I don't think it's a spoiler when I mentioned that there are some scenes when they fight, and I'll get to the fights in just a minute, where they fight where I don't hear any music at all. It's just them going out, just their battle sounds and grunts and all that. Where, again, there's like no music at all. And I actually prefer it that way. I see on Twitter some people, inserting like their fan made, I don't know what you call it, but they insert like certain pieces of music in certain scenes, like how this would have went out, the scene would have turned out if they used this scene or something. And they did that for the fight in Hong Kong, the Hong Kong fight scene. And I actually prefer the original more. And some of the fight scenes where there's like no music, it's just really, it's, for me personally, it really, I guess that's why I really like the sound design, or the sound mixing and sound editing in this movie, because you really sort of just pay attention, I guess. And these monsters roaring, it's obviously some of the most iconic sounds ever, like the T-Rex roar from Jurassic Park, Bowser's roar or Kratos' roar, Also, the sounds that the Transformers make when they're transforming. It's memorable. These sounds are iconic. And they're like, and I know they're renditions of the original monsters' roars, I guess. Kong's roar can, go either way. You can use any roar, I guess. Well, not any roar, but any stock roar, and it can still work for Kong. So he doesn't really have like his own distinct roar, unlike Godzilla. And speaking of his roars, I didn't notice it while I was watching the movies. While I was watching the movie with my multiple viewings, but until my third viewing of it, that they do kind of reuse Kong's 1976. Yeah, I think King Kong came out in 1970. There was a King Kong film that came out in 1976. At least I think that was the year it came out. They used a rendition of that roar. It kind of did. Like, I think when at this certain scene, I'm not gonna say a scene because it will get into spoiler territories, but yeah, I really like that. Just the overall sound of this movie was just great. Now, some could argue that could probably be too loud, and yeah, kind of was. Especially when I saw it in a super screen DLX with Dolby Atmos sounds. Yeah, it was definitely quite loud, especially in the beginning scene. But let's see. Oh, I was gonna get into fights. The fights. Oh, there we go. That looks more like an okay. Yeah, the fights. If you complain about the past MonsterVerse films, with the exception of Skull Island, 2017, because the fights in that movie were actually not really interrupted for the most part. Where they were clearer, you could tell what was going on. You could actually take in what was going on instead of like cutting to humans like every 5 seconds. The fights in Godzilla vs. Kong is pretty much the same way. And after what Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla King of the Monsters kept doing, when they kept cutting back to the humans, it was like a breath of fresh air. It was so satisfying to see. And they were basically some of the best parts of this whole movie. Now, going into this movie, I just want to say, probably should have said this earlier, but if you're expecting some deep, thought-provoking, emotional, dark movie, throw that out the window. If you're, you see the trailer, it's exactly what you'd expect, and then some. And it does it well. That's the thing. It does it really well. And, nowadays, with the pandemic and all that, so much depressing news that we keep hearing every day or every other day, every week. We need a movie like this. We do. We really need a movie like this. And we need to watch it in a way that feels normal, you know? And that's not just watching it on HBO Max, which this movie was also available on until April 30. Now it's only exclusive to theaters. Good. You know, going out to the theaters to watch a blockbuster movie, a spectacle like Godzilla vs. Kong. And yes, there will be some reality checks to remind you, hey, we're still in a pandemic. So, you can still watch this movie in the theaters, but you also have to follow these social distancing guidelines and sanitizing procedures. Keep yourself safe, masks as well. Though, when I was in the theaters, they didn't really mind me like having my mask off for the most part. So, yeah, there was a and what else can I really say about this movie? That it is badass. It's if you want to know whose team I was on, you know, go on my Twitter, I guess. Just scroll through everything that I posted since the release of this movie's trailer, official trailer, which I think now has like 89 million views, which is awesome, especially considering that it made over 24 million views in its first 24 hours of being released. We haven't gotten a movie trailer that made that many views since probably Avengers Endgame. People, you have no idea how much that makes me happy. How proud it makes me feel that Godzilla vs. Kong, its trailer alone, was making so many views. In such little time, and how so many people were talking about it. It's actually getting me a little bit emotional just by talking about it. That's what this movie's done to me, you know? It's got me so emotional and all that. I mean, no, seriously, it did. I've never been excited for anything. I've never been so excited for anything in my life. Like the excitement that I felt for this movie. For the first viewing alone. Second viewing, I was still pretty excited. And the third viewing, I was still excited. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'm ever gonna have another experience with a movie like that ever again. It's I could I I could have died happy walking out of the theaters. I really could have. Life was just good. It was great. You know, just shutting out all of the negativity going on in the world and even in my own personal life. Just because there are a lot of them. Just this movie. Enjoying it with the people that I care about. My loved ones. And seeing how much fun they were having too. Now, a couple people that I went saw with, they're not really too fond on the whole sci-fi or giant monster flicks, and even they really liked it. They were having fun, and that just makes me so proud, makes me so happy. It's a beautiful feeling. You know, you could say what you want about this movie. It's not perfect, okay? Definitely not perfect. It's not gonna go. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's gonna go on the list, or at least it's not gonna go on most lists of like the top 5 Godzilla films. Might go on the top 5 list of Kong films because there are so little Kong films, especially compared to Godzilla films. Films, but I'm thinking you'll definitely be satisfied with this movie. And you know, my local theaters, they're not showing it in premium formats anymore, unfortunately. Especially when my local Regal Cinemas reopened back up on April 23. I was really looking forward to watching this movie again in 40x. I've never seen a film in 40x before, but couldn't do that, unfortunately. That's fine. I had a pretty good experience with the 2 or 3 other times that I've watched it in. Now, I think I pretty much covered everything there is to cover without giving away spoilers. I don't even know if this video is pretty long enough. I don't know if I want to give a spoiler review anymore because of how long this video already is. But if you do, then leave some comments down below, and you know, if you want, maybe we can even collaborate or something. I don't really know how to do that on YouTube or online in general. Despite the fact that I graduated college with an associate degree in network technology, I can't even make a YouTube proper YouTube video anymore. A professional looking YouTube video, at least, with like cuts and stuff. At least not anymore when Windows 10 retired Windows Live Movie Maker. So I can't really do that anymore. I mean, I could learn, but I don't really feel like it. And if you watched my update 4 years later video, I believe, I explain how I just kind of have zero interest in making YouTube videos in general. But if it's really about something I'm passionate about, like Godzilla, King Kong, oops, there goes my lighting. I look so bad. I look so bad with that lighting. Don't look at me. Okay, there I go. Peekaboo. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Again, if it's like something I'm really passionate about, like professional wrestling, Godzilla, King Kong. I'm not too passionate about Gamera, but you know, even though I should definitely check out the movies more. But you know, it is what it is. Superheroes as well. The whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I've seen all the films except for Spider-Man Far From Home. I think that's the last one that came out. I know Black Widow's coming out next, and then Shang-Chi, and then Doctor Strange 2. The Madness of the Multiverse, or whatever. It's a long-ass subtitle. And I know they released their whole slate of movies coming out within the next, like, 2 years. But yeah, ever since Avengers Endgame, I haven't really been interested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe anymore. Even though Spider-Man's, like, one of my favorite superheroes ever. But yeah. That's my Godzilla vs. Kong review. Yeah, I'm not used to talking this long. I'm not used to talking that much at all. How's that even possible? But yeah, if you do want to see me do a spoiler review of this movie, you know, go drop your comments down below. I hope I can be able to collaborate with someone, because me doing this by myself, it's totally not as fun or interesting. 35-minute video of just me talking about Godzilla vs. Kong in like the most boring way possible, where other people can do it in like less than 10 minutes, less than 15 minutes. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This movie, I'm so proud of how much money it's making, or just of how successful it's being in general. It surpassed the worldwide box office of Godzilla King of the Monsters, which was like $387 million. Unfortunately, because that could be due to a number of reasons. One, was released at the wrong time with too many other movies that people wanted to see. And so it was basically surrounded by those, like Aladdin, Detective Pikachu. It was released like only a month after Avengers Endgame. Also in the same month as John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. There's also Rocket Man, Ma, I believe. The Men in Black movie with Chris Hemsworth and what's that woman's name? That was also in Thor: The Dark World. No, not Thor: The Dark World. Thor Ragnarok. There it is. And in the Creed films as well. Creed 2015 and Creed 2 2018. Tesla Thomas, I think. Thompson. Tessa Thompson. I think that's her name. Tessa Thompson. I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm really sorry, people. Michael B. Jordan. Tessa Thompson. That's the name. Yeah. I wonder how she would have been in a whatchamacallit, a Godzilla film or a kaiju film in general. Yep, Tessa Thompson. Okay, there we go. I feel like she could definitely be in a MonsterVerse film as well if they do continue her. Because by now you probably know that there is a hashtag continue the MonsterVerse. It's been going around. It's been pretty popular for like the first, within a week after Godzilla vs. Kong came out. And Legendary even took notice of that, and Jordan Vogt-Roberts, the director of Godzilla vs. Kong, took notice of that. Me, yes, I am a big supporter of the Continue the Monsterverse hashtag/movement. But if they did end the Monsterverse with Godzilla vs. Kong, I'd be sad, but I'd also be fine with it. It's a decent end, I guess, even though they're missing a bunch of opportunities, but yeah, it is what it is. At least you get to go off on a high note. And we also have Toho, or Japan, like doing their own Godzilla stuff with Godzilla Singular Point. And last couple months ago, you also had here in America Pacific Rim: The Black. That anime came out, that American anime, and we're also going to be having a Cloverfield sequel, which is going to be it's not like a sequel or spin-off or a anthology film like 10 Cloverfield Lane or the Cloverfield Paradox was, I guess. Apparently it's going to be a actual sequel to Cloverfield 2008, the found footage film. So, also, I think we're still going to get that Skull Island prequel anime series. And of course, we still have the comics Godzilla, Dominion, and Kingdom Kong, which actually apparently like give more insight into the plot of the film Godzilla vs. Kong. Because I don't think it's a spoiler when I say that there is a lot that's been left out. And there were some missed opportunities too. Especially a big one for a certain character that I think you'll know who I'm talking about once you see the film. So, yeah, that's my review, non-spoiler review now, because I'm not doing a spoiler review, at least not by myself, in this video to make it fucking an hour long. Gonna be as long as the whole movie itself. No. But yeah, that's my review. I heavily enjoyed it. If I were to rate it, I'd probably give it, now having experienced it enough times to actually critique the film and not just, get out of the theaters out with my beer goggles and just love the experience. I actually want to critique it as a film itself. I heavily enjoyed it. It does what it sets out to do, and it delivers, and then some, but you have to be at a certain mindset for it. And there will be some things that you don't like, particularly some of the most or even all of the human characters. But I feel like this film knows what it is, and what it's trying to set out. So for that, I am going to give it, I don't know, I was going to give it a 4.5 out of 5, but because that they relied so heavily, or it doesn't stand out on its own, you don't really need to, read the comics and all that. I mean, I recommend that you do. I recommend that you see the past MonsterVerse movies too before seeing Godzilla vs. Kong. But you don't really need all that, I guess. However, with the comics in general, this movie was like only an hour 53 minutes. However, it was originally supposed to be like 5 hours long. And me, I am a fan of like all these alternative cuts to a movie. Such a fan of them. I guess you probably know I'm a pretty big fan of like the cuts to Blade Runner. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like 7, 8 cuts that it has. But yeah, we're still on the topic of Godzilla vs. Kong, not Blade Runner, or Blade Runner 2049. I don't even No, I never reviewed Blade Runner 2049. I definitely had it as a cover photo on my Facebook page, though. Anyway, now I'm rambling. Okay, that's my Godzilla vs. Kong review. Watch it on the biggest screen possible. Go to the theaters to watch it. Support the MonsterVerse. Support Godzilla vs. Kong. let's hope we do get more MonsterVerse movies, and you know, if we do, let's hope that they fix the mistakes that were present in the 4 MonsterVerse films that we had, because as good as they are, there are some that aren't as well liked as others. They all have flaws. They're not, definitely not Oscar contenders, but they're definitely not like really thought provoking, or they're not gonna really hit you in the feels like you may or may not want them to. But let's hope that maybe they change that with the next MonsterVerse film. Let's have stronger human characters, or no human characters at all if you want to go that route. And if we're gonna have more fights, let's make sure that they're more clearer, and that you don't keep on cutting back and forth to the humans a lot like you did with 2014's Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters. Let's actually pay our full attention to the fight. And if possible, do it to a point where it's even better than how you did it with Kong Skull Island and Godzilla vs. Kong. You know, break some boundaries, break some records, hopefully, too. And let's make this series, this shared universe, a success. Alright, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching this 47-minute review of a movie that I love that I got to experience. And it's not the best movie I've ever seen. That would probably be King Kong, 1933, and the 2005 versions. But it's an event that I've wanted to experience all my life, ever since I first got introduced to these two larger-than-life characters, Godzilla and Kong. So thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, everyone. Get vaccinated, because whatever you may think about them, they're the step to normalcy, to get back to normalcy. And just be aware, be smart. Please, be kind to each other. Unfortunately, there's still a bunch of bullshit going on, especially here in America, where I'm seeing like news about shootings like every day or literally every other day, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say every day or every other day. Enough is enough. Let's get our shit together. We're still in a pandemic. We may be progressing. We may be showing signs of progress with all these reopenings, but we're not out of the woods just yet, okay? Let's be smarter about this, please. But that doesn't mean that we can't enjoy some movies or fun events while we're at it. And, the people I saw, we all did it safely. We're all fine. You can be too. So please, stay safe, everyone. Sayonara.